Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, let's take for an example if your outstanding debts to the creditors is 3 crores, right? And your company's assets are only 2.5 crores. Now tell me, is your personal property safe और आपको अपनी personal property से भी कुछ देना पड़ेगा?
Um,
आपकी टोटल आउटस्टैंडिंग 3 करोड़ हैं, आपकी कंपनी के एसेट्स टोटल सिर्फ 2.5 हैं. Now,
मुझे नहीं देना पड़ेगा मैम.
so what is the merit in this?
मैम, the personal assets are
Personal assets are
safe.
safe. Yes, here you are. When the
And this we can say na limited liability because personal assets are safe.
yes, we can put it that like Rhythm started that it is a separate legal entity, and when it is a separate legal entity, that means yes, Yashika. When it is a separate legal entity, then what happens? Then
Ma'am, GST has when it is separate legal entity, it will have limited liability.
so it will lead to limit members and company are considered two different entities, so it will lead to limited liability. Okay, so I have other team who doesn't prefer having a company, joint stock company. Can I have the names of the students? जो बिल्कुल against है joint stock companies के. So I put it. Let's put it. Naman, Nandana, Khushi is there in the class. Khushi is there in the class. Okay, Nandana, Naman, and Devansh Garg. They are against GSC. Now you have to rebut Rhythms and everyone's point. Do you get it? Yashika, Manan, Rhythm, Mohit, you are in one team जो कहते हैं होनी चाहिए JSC और नमन देवांश गर्ग नंदना you're against it. Yes, Nandana. Nandana. Krishna. Krishna.
Yes, ma'am.
In favor or against? Krishna in favor of JSC or against JSC? Krishna, I'm waiting. Krishna, I'm waiting. At least say yes or no.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी बोलिए. जेएससी के फेवर में हो, कंपनी खोलना चाहोगे या सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप के लिए काम करोगे?
नहीं, सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप में.
वाई? अब यही वाई बताना है मुझे.
Sorry, ma'am.
Why would you prefer sole proprietorship, Krishna? क्यों सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप में काम करोगे? Okay, yes, Naman. Krishna, you have to answer in the class. Yes, Naman. Demerit. Yes, Nandana.
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी. Demerit. When Rhythm says limited liability and separate legal entity, what is the demerit?
Ma'am, it is difficult to form it.
Okay. So a lengthy procedure for the formation or the heavy documentation. Lengthy procedure. Anything else you want to add?
Ma'am, the decisions which are to be taken often get delayed.
So decisions they get delayed. Yes, Manan. Manan,
Yes, ma'am.
आपके हिसाब से
What, ma'am?
demerits. No, I had put you in merits team.
Merits. Yes, ma'am.
हाँ जी. मेरिट्स आपके हिसाब से क्या और क्या मेरिट्स हैं जेएससी के? 5 minutes का टॉपिक है. लेट्स डू द क्लास. आई विल फिनिश द क्लास.
Ma'am,
There are-
merits बोलो ना.
हाँ जी. आपके हिसाब से रिदम सेड कि भाई मैं जेएससी कभी भी काम करूंगा तो मैं कंपनी खोलूंगा क्योंकि उसका ये एडवांटेज है कि मेरी लाइबिलिटी मेरी पर्सनल प्रॉपर्टी विल बी ऑलवेज सेफ. नाउ व्हाट इज द अदर मेरिट अकॉर्डिंग टू यू?
Ma'am, the shares are
Shares are transferable.
Ma'am, means a company shareholder means can share is wait, second.
Hmm.
1 second, ma'am. Let me make the sentence. Yes, ma'am. He can transfer his shares without consulting anyone.
So, whenever he thinks that he is no longer in need of those shares, or he feels that he is in urgent need of money, he can easily sell those shares in the market. So, this becomes the best advantage that any person who has the shares, who has bought the shares of the company, he doesn't have to stick with those shares throughout his life, or there is no proper procedure laid down by the company. Only thing is they can be converted into cash by the procedure which is laid down by SEBI, and it can be easily converted with the broker. आप broker से share खरीदते हो, आप you can get it converted into cash with little amount you have to pay to the broker, and then it can be converted into cash. So this is a very good advantage of a JSC. Yes, Devansh Garg. Please, students, अपने आप बोल दो ना. It takes a lot of time in seeing the register again who all are present in the. Yes, Devansh. You have to. जैसे ही I think Manan says, you have to rebut his point. No, I do not agree it. Yes, the team in demerits.
मैम छोड़ दिया उसने.
Who?
Ma'am,
देवांश
Devansh left the class.
Anyways. I तो don't say anything. मैं तो कहती हूँ बोलो, जितना गलत भी बोल रहे हो अच्छा है, बोलो तो सही कुछ. But then there is no need to leave the class. You're missing the class. Krishna just said yes, ma'am. I appreciate. Okay, at least बोला तो सही, कुछ तो बोलोगे. Okay. Yes. Naman is also not speaking up anything. I think his mic is spoiled. हाँ जी. हाँ जी बोलिए. So this is the demerit he is saying. Yes, rhythm and Mohit, आपको इसको rebut करना है इसी point को, that profits are not in one hand. So can you expand this point or should I do it? Can you compare it with sole proprietorship and partnership? Okay, I'll do it.
मेरिट्स बताते हैं ना इसके जॉइंट स्टॉक कंपनी के.
एक मिनट मोहित, जो पॉइंट अभी आई विल से उसी को रिबट करना, मतलब आपको उसके अगेंस्ट उसी टाइम यू हैव टू से नो, आई डू नॉट एग्री विद दैट. So when Naman says profits are not in one hand, see, in a sole proprietorship, the profits are not to be shared with anyone. It are there in one hand. In partnership also, there are only maximum there can be 20 members. So the maximum profits have to be shared in 20 members, or there can be a partnership only of 2 or 4 members. So the profits are not to be shared with the large number of people. Whereas in a joint stock company, there is no, in a public limited company, there is no limit of maximum members. So whatever profit is being earned by a company, it has to be divided. The dividend has to be divided amongst the shareholders. So this is a demerit. He says that the profits does not stay in the owner's hand or in the promoter's hand. We'll come to know what are promoters. Yes. Okay. Right. Yes.
Ma'am, but there is a huge capital and they can share their profit. There is a capacity that they can share and everyone will get good profit share.
So Mohit says it right. Yes, but then in a sole proprietorship, they do not have huge capital available. But here they have raised the capital by because the public has invested here. So they have the right to have a share in the profits as well. But here, if I have to rebut this point, I will. Naman, Nandana, can you say? Nandana, Devansh Garg, can you say something? Naman and Nandana, can you think of something? Devansh Garg has left. Khushi, can you think of something? But then also, if you say that the profits have to be shared, the question arises: Are the companies sharing the profits according to the? Are they giving the true picture of the profits earned by them? No. Whatever profits are being earned, the major share of goes to the equity shareholders, not to the preference shareholders. Now, when I use the two terms, equity shareholders and preference shareholders, there are two types of shares: equity shares and preference shares. The one who holds preference shares, they are given preference at the time of giving dividend, and equity shareholders are given dividend after the preference shareholders have been paid. ये सब बाद में आपके syllabus में है सब कुछ, we'll be doing it. But the preference shareholders are given a fixed ratio of dividend कि इतना ही मिलेगा. Whatever residue or whatever is left after paying to the preference shareholders, that goes into the pockets of the equity shareholder. So the maximum chunk, maximum profit goes into the pockets of the equity shareholders. Right? So here I say there are large number of cases of fraud where they get into price rigging.
Ma'am,
Price,
ma'am, who
yes.
are equity shareholders?
इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स वो होते हैं जिनको सी व्हेन आई यूज द टर्म प्रेफरेंस शेयर होल्डर्स वो होते हैं जिनको प्रेफरेंस मिलती है डिविडेंड देने के टाइम, और जो मिल जाता है वो बाद में जितना बच जाता है दैट गोज टू द प्रेफरेंस इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स. इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स, इफ यू हैव टू जस्ट रिमेंबर, दे आर द रियल ओनर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. दे आर द रियल प्रमोटर्स ऑफ द कंपनी. जिन्होंने एक्चुअली कंपनी शुरू की होती है वो अपने हाथ में इक्विटी शेयर होल्डर्स रखते हैं. They
Okay.
become actually the persons who actually manages the affairs of the company, right?
Okay.
This will be coming. This is just a little glimpse I have given you कि when I use the term तो आपको पता होना चाहिए equity and preference shareholders कौन है. So I will again use the two terms here, that is called price rigging and all. Now what do the companies do? There are large cases of fraud in the case of companies in the JSC. What do these companies do? Now, somehow when they make profits, they do not show the original picture to the government department, to the registrars, and they show that they have got into losses. So they don't pay any profit to the shareholders. So what happens? The shareholders thinks that the company has gone into losses, whereas the company by insider trading कि अंदर ही अंदर अपनी information जो है, they hide their information, और they are themselves who know the information. हमारे shares के prices ऊपर जाने वाले, नीचे जाने वाले. So they have all the things in their hand. So what do? They give a bad picture, or they show a bad image of their company to the public, and the public gets into losses. वो तो जो information उनको दे दो, they'll just consider it and they'll go off. So if you want to read about it, so this is a weekend assignment. Just put it an activity in your register. That is the case of Rajat Gupta I am giving you. He was convicted of insider trading, and he was a man who was born in Calcutta in 1948. He was into board of directors, but how do these directors they get into insider trading? कंपनी अंदर ही अंदर सब इंफॉर्मेशन उनके पास होती है, और लोग शेयर्स के सब प्राइसेस उनको पता होते हैं, कब गिरने वाला है, कब ऊपर जाने वाला है. सो does it not lead to fraud to the shareholders, to the common man, to the public who has bought the shares of the company? Yes or
Yes.
no?
Yes, ma'am, it will.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
this leads to fraud, bigger frauds. Now, I'll just take it off. Now, please, students, I'm again repeating, when you are discussing these points, you will not get these points in your book. ये हमारी अपनी discussion के basis पे we are doing. If we are to remember now, joint stock companies. Now, if you say that take the pictures of Madan Choksi, Nirav Modi, what happened in these cases? Now, they are also companies who had taken big loans from the banks. But where are they presently? Are we able to quickly extradite them? No, we aren't. Extradite means कि हम उनको the criminals who have to be brought back from other countries to our country. They have not indulged into small. Let's take the example of Vijay Mallya as well. So they are not the companies who are only dependent on the shareholders' funds. They have the people who have taken the shares of their companies. There are people who there are banks जहाँ से उन्होंने loan लिया. Then there are other intercorporate deposits. कहाँ से from different sources they have raised the funds. And one day when the fraud is disclosed, they are evaporated, finished. Who bears the losses here? It's the shareholder who has invested money. Now, when you will read the sources of finance, you will come to know that why does a shareholder invest? Why do I have been repeatedly saying, although I'll just tell you, I don't have any Reliance shares. This is just for the example I'm telling you. When I invest in the shares, what is the reason I invest in shares? Now it is somewhere my hard earned money that I want to think that this is the money which is lying. This is the surplus amount which I don't need it right now. I can utilize this money. I can convert this money into shares so that I can enjoy the dividend of the company and just add on the surplus. Why? Because I want to add it for my future generations or for my old age or for my better profit. But when the companies, they indulge into these price rigging and insider trading, these are the tricks which are used by the companies. Who is at a loss? It is the shareholder. Who is at a loss? It's me who is at a loss. Who has invested the surplus जो मैं शायद सेव करके रख सकती थी for my retirement or for my old age, but I did not. I tried to invest it in the shares and all the money has gone. Here is where the people are facing losses. Why do people check out stock markets who invest? Every day they're on TV, every day they check it in the newspaper. Either I have two options, I'll just keep the shares and just keep quiet and just wait for the prices to rise. Or I'll just sell them at a lower price कि नहीं इससे ज़्यादा गिरेगा तो मेरा और नुकसान हो जाएगा. Just let it go now. This is what happens. Anyone into shares and all in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Who?
Ma'am, Rhythm.
Do you buy yourself?
Sometimes, ma'am.
Rhythm, whatever I said, is it right? Price rigging and insider trading?
Yes, ma'am.
Rhythm, अगर आप stocks में deal करते हो थोड़ा सा, that is, last year also I had a student. 1 second. So I will prefer कि आप थोड़ा सा, if I have the screenshot here somewhere. 1 second.
Yes, ma'am.
If you can explain us that how the stocks are read.
Stocks are?
How do you study the market every day?
Whenever I invest.
No. It's the arrow system I'm talking about.
No, ma'am, not arrow. It's a chart.
I had it here, but I can't find it somewhere. It was here. So it's actually it was here. Wait a second. Okay. So if I find it, it's actually when you study we have the arrows जिससे हमें पता चलता है इसका shares का rate ऊपर जा रहा है या नीचे जा रहा है. I'm so sorry. Okay. So that is what I was talking about. So if you can explain that in the class.
Ma'am, what to explain?
It's the arrow system. Share prices कैसे हम discuss करते हैं. That is what I'm talking about.
Personally, I just see the whole month chart. The stock are going up or down. How company. I just study company fundamentals.
Okay. So these are little financial documentaries also. If anybody wants to go through these movies, you can just watch them. You can just have a screenshot if you are interested into it. How does these stock markets or these markets go up and down? How do these corporate houses control them? If you're interested, you can just watch these movies. One or two, you can just watch it on the weekend. Taken a screenshot? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, coming up with again the merits and the demerits. So, I have given you the Rajat Gupta case, and which you can do it as an activity. Now, we were further talking about the merits and demerits. So, the first merit is the best limited liability. That is the merit of this. Now, the biggest demerit is the formation. That is, and another demerit of a JSC is that we have to submit our reports, that the financial reports have to be submitted to the government department, to the registrar every year. That keeps a strong eye of the government departments on the company. This is also a demerit. So there is a lot of interference which takes sometimes even there are delays in taking decisions. And here the entire management is into the hands of board of directors. And sometimes the board indulge into these type of frauds which we have just talked about. And other than the frauds, these board of directors, they become board of directors just because they have the shares available with themselves, the maximum of number of shares with themselves. So sometimes they are inefficient to control the affairs of the management, affairs and management of the company. So, and they have some oligarchic approach. When I say oligarchic, means the power vests in hands of few. They are not the real owners of the company. Now, if I give you an example of Alphabet, that is, when I give you an example of Google. Now, is Sundar Pichai the owner of company?
No, ma'am.
No, he's just the CEO. It's Larry Page and do you remember the name of the other person who started it? Larry Page and...
I'm Larry Ellison.
No, it's not. Some name starts with SH.
Surgery bin.
Yeah. So they were the real owners they were the promoters of the company, जिन्होंने company start की. But who is managing the entire affairs? It's Sundar Pichai. But these big companies, they can hire very highly professional, skilled people. But what about those people जहाँ पे board of directors में ऐसे लोग बैठे हैं जो कि manage ही नहीं कर पा रहे? So there is oligarchy in the system कि पावर ब्यूरोक्रेट ज़्यादा इतनी पावर्स उनके हाथ में आ जाती है कि उसका मिसयूज करना शुरू कर देते हैं वो लोग. सो दे ट्राई टू टेक ऑल द पावर्स. सारा फ्रॉड उनके हाथ में आ जाता है कैसे करना है. सो ऑल दीज डिसीजंस रिगार्डिंग इनसाइडर ट्रेडिंग आर टेकन बाय दीज board of directors. So, and sometimes because they are not even the real owners of the company, और उनका पैसे पे ज़्यादा ध्यान है, so there is no motivation. They do not work enthusiastically for the upliftment of the company. That is case to case. You cannot put it into every case. Like in the case of Google, you cannot ever put it. Sundar Pichai is doing to the best of his ability. and you must see what is his paid. If you make a difference between a business and a profession, but what is Sundar Pichai gets, you cannot even say that a profession can ever be bad. It's only the caliber of the person which counts. So are these demerits clear? So coming with the yes or no, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I talk about the merits, सबसे बड़ा merit है limited liability and the large capital which is available with them, that is through the investment by the public. Then one advantage is perpetual succession, that the company will never come to an end. So even if the members they die or they keep coming or by insolvency or incapacity or unsound mind, it doesn't make a difference. So unlike sole proprietorship, where what happens that a person he has any such circumstances in his life that he dies or any death or disease, the sole proprietorship comes to an end. It's unstable, but here it is a stable company. It goes on for a longer period of time. It has perpetual succession. Transfer of interest, it is very, it has already been done. And this point I'll just relate. When it is large capital available with themselves, it is very easy for the companies to invest in their research and development. Now, when we have taken the example of Google, now when there is large capital available with them, so this is the reason that they are able to invest in their research and development team. This is the reason because they have large capital, large funds available with themselves. They are able to take highly professional, skilled people for their work. And along with that, they are able to give best remuneration, best perks and accommodations to their employees. So what will happen when they are highly skilled people? They will be motivated to work for the upliftment of the company. रिसर्च एंड डेवलपमेंट में इतना इन्वेस्ट कर दिया तो क्या होगा? सो दे आर एबल टू लॉन्च न्यू प्रोडक्ट्स लाइक इफ एप्पल लॉन्चेस, like any electronics launches, because they have a, like any automobile sector, telecom sectors. You can read about the research and development team of these companies. Take up one team company. Last time also I asked you one company you can take up. Did you do it on Tata Reliance? Anyone? How many shares do they hold, everyone? I had asked you this activity in the class. Now, are the merits and demerits clear? When it comes to an activity, you all are quiet. Yes, everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Are the merits and demerits clear? When you're talking about it, you are not talking about what is written in the book. You are talking about Rajat Gupta. You are talking about Manan Choksi. You are talking about Neerav Modi, Vijay Mallya. That is what you have to read. We do not have to confine our limits only to the book. बहुत easy है, पढ़ने की भी जरूरत नहीं है. Once you understand the features, आप easily make out कर सकते हो इसमें से merits कौन से हैं, demerits कौन से हैं. Clear, everyone? Now the next topic, although I'm not going to start today. Anything to discuss? Rhythm, you can talk about the shares and the stocks with us today. Rhythm? Rhythm, are you there in the class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you can talk a little about the shares. Which company shares do you prefer and why?
Right now, if I tell you, right now I have bought sell off GTL Infrastructure.
Okay.
I mean, and it gave me about 200% return in just 1 month.
Rhythm, I'll ask you a question. Did you ever know what type of share they have issued you? Are there any preference shares या equity shares ऐसे कुछ नाम आपको पता चलता है? Do you buy online or directly from the broker or the underwriter?
Ma'am, online from Zerodha.
Okay, so there are online websites
But
now. Ah,
yes, ma'am.
okay. And you study the market every day, newspaper या online again?
Ma'am, online, I just watch, ma'am, how companies' stocks are going upside or downwards, ma'am.
So can you just little throw light how are the companies the shares go up and down?
Ma'am, I've read a chart, ma'am, before lockdown, before
Mm-hmm.
Corona, before COVID-19, Reliance share was, ma'am, nearly about 130 or 132.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am, just ma'am, when the COVID started, it started coming downward till 30 or 29.
Okay.
And ma'am, right now it is gone up like 200 plus.
What is the reason behind it went up?
Just because मैम यही है कि कोविड के पीछे लोगों ने अपना सारा पैसा निकाल लिया मैम, जरूरत पड़ी सबको.
Okay. Or what else? So are the investments of new investments of Reliance are they are not into picture? जो
No
नए
मैम.
जो वेंचर्स नए रिलायंस ने शुरू किए हैं और
Yes.
नई पार्टनरशिप्स की हैं और नई कंपनीज दे हैव टेकन ओवर.
Yes ma'am.
So those factors are also considered.
Yes ma'am. Ma'am, in future the share will go up if the company is in profit.
So India's top companies is Reliance और इसके अलावा
Reliance, Tata, ma'am,
and
Adani Port. This time Adani Port shares are going up.
so even if you all read it, I don't know. See, when students you do it, do you know Adani is in the purview of SEBI now?
Don't know.
पढ़ना है इसके बारे में. I'm saying it to everyone, not only to Rhythm. When it says, when I said it is under the purview of SEBI, that means SEBI ने कुछ guidelines जो issue की होती हैं अपने act में, Adani has not followed it, so it has been given a circular of investigation. Adani. अब वो कैसे इन्वेस्टिगेशन होती है पता नहीं, whether it goes hayway or it goes in a but SEBI is a statutory body. It works independently from the government. So it depends on the members if they take a very genuine investigation against Adani. So this was into news just 2-3 days before. You can just all read about it. And when you read these articles, I repeatedly say, यहाँ वेबसाइट नोट करो. अगर न्यूज़पेपर से पढ़ रहे हो तो you can just cut an article and just keep it in your register. And if it is all into your hand, you can download. I will not say newspaper lagwa lo because it's all online these days, very comfortable. Why don't you subscribe to ET, Economic Times? That is the best help in the business. Right, students? You can have that. You can download ET. Even I have it in my iPad. Might be here, there somewhere. It is there. So, can I wind up the class? Okay, 1 second. I'll just talk about what are types of companies. We are going to talk about 3 types of companies here. Under GSC, joint stock companies can be of 3 types. Basically, they can be on the basis of ownership also. जो हम इस chapter में पढ़ने वाले हैं, that is we are talking about on the basis of ownership. They can be public limited companies, they can be private limited companies, and there can be one-person companies. I'll just talk about public limited company. Although Nandana is going to talk with us the difference between public and private limited companies on Monday. Right, Nandana?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, when I say public limited company, this first thing in a company law 2013, it says public company is a company which is not a private company. First line it says. And it is one which has minimum, if you remember, how many members did I say? Minimum 7 members, and maximum there is no limit in a public limited company. There is no restriction on the transferability of shares in a public limited company. And when you read about private limited company, you will see that transfer of shares are restricted in a private limited company. Even in an OPC, you cannot transfer shares. In a public limited company, there is no restriction on transfer of shares. And best way to differentiate between a public and a private limited company. A private limited company cannot issue prospectus. Prospectus is a document which invites the general public कि आप हमारी company में के shares खरीदो या invest in our company. So, but a public limited company has the right, has the power, or has been given the benefit that it can issue a prospectus, it can invite general public to subscribe to its shares or subscribe to its securities. Not only the shares, even to the debentures, even to the other securities. That is, bonds खरीद सकते हो आप, debentures ले सकते हो, और shares भी खरीद सकते हो company.
मैम कोई कंपनी चाहे तो पब्लिक प्राइवेट कोई भी चूज कर सकती है.
See, like when you are starting, in the starting, no company can be straight permitted to get it on the stock exchange. आपको starting में ये permission नहीं दी जाती कि आप अपने shares public को दे दो, because you do not hold a reputation in the town. See, आज आप कोई कंपनी शुरू करते हो, let's take an example, आपकी कोई कंपनी का नाम है, आप उसका prospectus issue कर देते हो, who will buy the shares of your company? Nobody, because nobody knows your company. Nobody knows whether this company will, what is the work it is going to do, whether it will go into profits or losses. But what do the people do? They establish as private limited companies, and later they can change those. This will come up later. Ki private limited companies can be changed into public limited companies at a later stage. जब आपको लगता है you have created a goodwill and a reputation in the society, in the country or amongst the people, और आपके product popular हो गए, आपने एक goodwill earn कर लिए, then you prefer turning it into a public limited company. Or public limited companies, be remember there are two types of companies. One who prefer issuing shares and one who do not prefer sharing shares. So they can be listed on a stock exchange. जो shares issue करेगा, they are listed on the stock exchange. So the ones who are not listed, they will not be. So it can be even NSE, that is National Stock Exchange. It can be BSE, Bombay Stock Exchange. Right? So basically, the main point is to be public company is a company which issues its share to the general public by inviting through a prospectus. और प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनीज वो कंपनीज होती हैं जहां पे फर्स्ट थिंग इज मिनिमम 2 members, मैक्सिमम देयर इज अ लिमिट to 200 members. Obviously it does not include कि आपके वहां पे employees कितने काम करते हैं. Employees are not counted in those 200 members, and it cannot invite the public to subscribe to the securities of the company. And in a private limited company you cannot transfer the shares. If I have the shares of my company in a private limited company, यहाँ बहुत सारे लोग होंगे, I'm sure in the class, अगर if your fathers are into, they have a private limited company, the law does not permit them to transfer their shares to anyone, and it does not even allow them to generate funds from the public. So this is the major difference between a public and a private limited company. Now, public limited companies, they can be of two types, which we have already read. company limited by shares and company limited by guarantee. पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी लिमिटेड बाय शेयर्स जिसमें आपकी सिर्फ लायबिलिटी उतनी है जितनी शेयर की वैल्यू है, दैट इज द फेस वैल्यू ऑफ द शेयर. And the company limited by guarantee means a company where the liability of its members is limited to the extent which guarantee he has already given. That is it. So if I agree that to the assets of the company, I will contribute 50,000 or 5 lakh or 5 crores, whatever XYZ is the amount. So मेरी liability is limited only जितनी मैंने guarantee ली है, उससे ज़्यादा नहीं वो company कर सकती मेरी liability. That is a company limited by guarantee. So these are two types of companies, public and private limited company. OPC is little not complicated, little lengthy, so I'll not take up today. Right, everyone? So we'll take up with Nandana on Monday, then we'll take up OPC. She will differentiate and then we'll start with the formation. So the next entire week will be formation and the important documents of the company. Any doubt, any problem, you can ask me, then otherwise we'll wind up the class.
No, ma'am.
One second, let me take the attendance. So it is Devanshkar. Krishna, you want to say something? Your mic is on. Okay, Manan. Manan, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Natik,
Yes, ma'am.
clear everything? Whatever was done in the class today?
Yes, ma'am.
So, Rajat Gupta is your case study which has to be done in your, at least a note has to be given in the register. What have you all written for the form which you got, whether you're interested to go join the school or not? Yes or no?
No.
To fill the forms, the school comes to know, and we also teachers come to know whether we have to go to school or not. So the maximum students who agree, so the school will start then accordingly. So have a good weekend, everyone. Take care.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye bye. So it's
Thank you, ma'am.
don't
Bye,
forget Rajat Gupta, everyone.